Hey folks, welcome back for another build video where we're looking at the Turmoil Kneepads, part of the Seska Verloba brand set, with the Bewildered talent. When dealing weapon damage to an enemy, 50% of the damage will be dealt to another enemy within 30 meters instead, and when there are no enemies nearby, deal damage normally, and this does not apply to armor plates. So a couple things right off the bat. I don't think this is by any means a meta piece of gear. It's just another item within this game that allows for more build diversity, a slightly different way of playing, and a tool that can definitely help you in certain specific situations. With that being said, I wanted to put together this build and make a video about it because I feel like a lot of people look at Turmoil Kneepads, they see the crit hit chance, the crit hit damage, and the Bewildered talent, and they automatically think, oh, a crit hit build would be great for these Kneepads. And while you can certainly make a crit hit build work with the Turmoil Kneepads, I think it really falls down when you actually try to use crit hit build with the Turmoil Kneepads because you're effectively having the damage that you're doing to your main target, which is definitely something that's really important for a crit hit build where you typically don't have a lot of armor and just trying to get enemies down one after another after another. So the fact that you're having the damage to your primary target means you definitely have to change up the way you play significantly to really make these Kneepads work on a crit hit build. So given the limitations that the Turmoil Kneepads have, one of the best builds I have found for the Turmoil Kneepads is a Headhunter Turmoil build. For those of you unfamiliar with Headhunter, after killing an enemy with a headshot, your next weapon hit within 30 seconds it deals an additional 150% of that killing blow's damage. So as you'll see in the video later on, you can basically just stack kill after kill after kill, increasing the amount of damage you're doing to the point where you are just doing excessive amounts of damage necessary to take an enemy down, meaning that you're actually, quote unquote, wasting a lot of damage, which is where the Bewildered talent comes into play quite beautifully, as you can now take all of this excessive damage that you're doing to your enemies, have it, still be able to take down your primary target with one shot, but now you're also taking down a secondary target with that same shot. If you'll forgive the tortured metaphor, it really is two birds with one stone. With that preamble out of the way, let's get into this build. For our specialization, we've gone with the Sharpshooter, primarily for the breath control talent, giving us 15% increases to weapon stability, reducing our recoil, and giving us faster acquisition of targets. The One in the Head talent also gives us 15% increased headshot damage with rifles and marksman rifles. And an additional benefit here with the round after round talent. After 20 seconds in cover, you start regenerating 5 marksman and 5 rifle ammo for every 10 seconds. For our primary weapon here, we have the 1886, which is the highest hitting high-end marksman rifle that is not a named variant. For our secondary attribute, we've gone with damage to target out of cover, and then we also have the Determined talent. After killing an enemy with a headshot, the next shot landed on any enemy will be a guaranteed headshot. For a secondary weapon, we've gone with the classic M1A, which Division 2 veterans will know has been nerfed, but is still a very effective weapon, and the higher RPM as compared to the 1886 gives you a nice secondary weapon to swap to if you don't have Chainkiller up and running, and you're just trying to take down some targets, especially those that are closer to you. And then because of the Tinkerer mask, we have the Streamline talent on this weapon, which increases weapon damage by 42% when no skills are on cooldown. And then for a pistol here, it's a weapon you're not going to use much on this build, but we've gone with the Harvest, which has the base increase to total damage. And then we've rolled Determined on your sidearm here as well, in case you're feeling spicy. For mask, we have the Tinkerer Exotic Mask, which comes with weapon damage, critical hit damage, and critical hit chance in the attribute slots, and then we've put headshot damage here in the mod slot. But more importantly, the Tinkerer mask comes with the Abridged talent. If your primary and secondary weapons are not exotic or named and of the same type, the secondary weapons talent will also be applied to the primary weapon. This does not apply if primary or secondary weapon talents include weapon swapping, and this does not apply if primary and secondary weapon talents are the same. So for this build, we have the Determined and the Streamlined talent both active when we are using our primary weapon. So effectively what this mask does is it allows us to have a Determined Headhunter build, and then we also get to stack all of the base damage that the Streamlined talent gives you on top of that. For our backpack, we have the Gift, which is a named item from the Providence Defense brand set. One piece bonus gives us plus 13% headshot damage. And then we have weapon damage, weapon handling, headshot damage and headshot damage again in the mod slot. And of course down there, the talent there is Perfect Vigilance, which increases total weapon damage by 25%, and taking damage disables this buff for 3 seconds. I'll stop here real quickly to say that the gift is a Dark Zone exclusive item, so the only ways to procure it are venturing into the Dark Zone or through a named item cache. If you don't happen to have the gift backpack, a normal Providence Defense backpack with Vigilance rolled onto it will be just fine for this build. For a chest piece, we've gone with Chainkiller. One piece of Walker Harrison Co. gives us plus 5% weapon damage. And then again here we have weapon damage, headshot damage, weapon handling, and headshot damage again in the mod slot. And Chainkiller comes with the Perfect Headhunter talent. After killing an enemy with a headshot, your next weapon hit within 30 seconds deals an additional 150% of that killing blow's damage. And damage is capped at 800% of your weapon damage, but it is raised to 1250% if your headshot damage is greater than 150%, which of course it is for this build, so really your cap is 1250% of your weapon damage. For gloves, we've gone with Contractor's Gloves. One piece of Petrov Defense Group gives us plus 10% LMG damage. That is entirely wasted, but it is still beneficial to have these gloves, as it gives you that all-important plus 8% damage to armor. And then in that secondary attribute slot, we've rolled headshot damage here as well to get us over that 150% headshot damage cap that we need to unlock a higher max cap for Chainkiller. For our holster, we have one piece of Overlord armaments. Typically on a rifle build, this would be fulfilled by Fox's Prayer Kneepads, but because we have the Turmoil filling that slot today, we've gone with Overlord armaments in our holster. Plus 10% rifle damage is the one piece brand bonus, and then we have a core attribute of weapon damage and then secondary attributes of weapon handling and headshot damage. And finally, in our Kneepad slot, we have the aforementioned Turmoil. One piece of Seskavaroba gives us plus 8% critical hit chance. Never a bad thing to have on any sort of weapon damage build. On top of that, unfortunately, we are stuck with a core attribute of weapon damage and then secondary attributes of critical hit damage and critical hit chance. They were originally added as an April 1st update, probably something as a joke item, given the April Fool's Day holiday. But of course, a lot of imaginative players have found really good uses for them, so they did go ahead and add them as a seasonal reward. So a lot more players have access to them, but they still, as of a few months later, have no way of being recalibrated. So you cannot change the critical hit chance or critical hit damage on these Kneepads at the time of recording. Hopefully they will correct that in the future. But even if they don't, it's not the worst thing in the world to have some additional critical hit chance on a build. And because we're already over the 150% level required by Chainkiller, the critical hit damage isn't really going to hurt us here much either. So all that is to say, I would recommend putting the Turmoil Kneepads on this build, but just know that you're not going to be able to recalibrate headshot damage on any part of this until they make that correction. For skills such that they are, we have the Reviver Hive and the Holographic Distraction Decoy. I'll run through both of these independently, but I want to make an overarching note that because of the streamlined talent on our secondary weapon, I would advise you not to use your skills unless absolutely necessary. There's definitely a school of thought where the Reviver Hive isn't a good choice here because you are forced to use it if you go down. So if you're running in a group, I would definitely pivot to a different skill, really anything that you're not going to use regularly and that has a relatively small cooldown. Because whenever your skill is on cooldown, the streamlined talent is deactivated, removing the weapon damage bonus that it gives you. So for a solo player, I think the Reviver Hive is okay to go with, because even though you go down, start the cooldown and lose your weapon damage, at least you haven't died entirely. But for group play, I would definitely go with a different skill here than the Reviver Hive. And then for your secondary skill, I have the Holographic Distraction Decoy. Thought process here being, if you do go down, if you lose the Turmoil benefit anyway. And there we have it, a Headhunter Turmoil build. Put this one together. Let me know what you think of it in the comments below. As always, like the video if you like it, subscribe if you want to see more stuff like this, and please tell your friends about the channel so you can continue to help us grow and make videos like this. As always, thank you so much for watching, and we will see you in the next one.
Brother, Felix Sokolov. Felix is a medic for the Black Touch. Going to be a doctor. I put him through medical school after our father died. While it's true I did not know him as a boy, I helped shape him into the man he had become. I had no idea he had been recruited by the division. My brother and unit was young and impressionable. I would never do anything to him or put him in harm's way. I loved him. I still love him. And
All day.
I hope the division agents who killed him know that his innocent blood is on their hands.
Progress. Hold. Manual override required. Access key detected.
Concentrating fire.
Progress resumed. Manual override required. Heavily armored hostile detected.
They're on me. That's right, Farmer. That cover won't save you.
Wait, I need to reload!
Just give up, asshole.
I'm mobilizing target!
Detecting additional hostile. Heavily armored hostile detected.
Agent, hostiles are retaliating in West End.